final start than Michael Jordan. That's a true story. Meanwhile, the report from Adam Schefter that Aaron Rodgers was the Steelers' third choice for quarterback.
Definitely not first choice. I'm confident in that. I think they would have rather had Stafford. I buy that one.
I also don't think Stafford was actually leaving.
Was that even remotely possible?
Schefter?
Finally, Tyreek Hill to the Patriots. Literally, I believe this more, and this whole article was like, these are just crazy ideas. But I'm like, oh, this is a good one. Maybe an idea worth exploring.
Sure.
Alongside Chris Broussard and Kevin Wildes. Nick, do you have any, closing thoughts on your Vegas?
No, nobody cares about that.
Played poker with Johnny Chan, the great Johnny Chan.
I did play poker with
He was in Rounders. Major storyline in Rounders.
Yeah, I know, buddy. Wildes kept texting me gifts from Rounders. So I texted him a picture of me and Johnny Chan, and he writes back to me, he was in the movie too. I'm like, I know, man.
It's a big story.
He's such a doofus.
We're starting with a thorough Thunder thumping. OKC got 34 from SGA. Controlled the game from start to finish. Here's the MVP postgame. Take a listen.
Every game's a reset, especially at this stage in the season. A series looks so different. We've had a series where we lost a game and won the next one by 40. We've had a series where we won 2 in a row by 20 and then lost the next one by 40. So it's like every game's a reset. And basketball reminds you of that. It's very humbling. It shows you that if you don't stay in the moment, if you don't come ready to play, no matter who you are, no matter what you just did, you can get beat and beat pretty bad. And we've learned those lessons, so we should be ready to go.
Well, solid takes there. OKC, the series game 1 and game 2, Brew. They shot better. Rebound differential really changed. Went from -17 in game 1 to +8 game 2. 25 assists game 2, only 13 in game 1. While the Pacers shot 46% from 3, that went down to 35% from 3. So much better overall in game 2. Did the Thunder erase all doubts? And just, Nick, you missed this. Brew started to get a little loosey-goosey with his Thunder pick.
I watched the show.
I don't change my pick.
I'm not saying you changed
That's
it.
the thing.
Listen, but you were out
I was watching.
If I ever had any thought of it, I just think back to Nick a few years
my
ago.
God, I had COVID brain. I was doing the show from my house. I didn't even my wits about me. You guys can't ever let me get over it. My goodness.
Let me first say this. You know how we say Ant is probably too immature to be the face of the league right now?
Yeah.
SGA might be too mature to be the face of the league. Man, I love SGA. I mean, the more I listen to him talk and just his demeanor, if I'm the Pacers watching that, I'm like, man, that's the very definition of unbothered.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm going to come out here and get my 35.
And it was wise, like what he was saying. And he was
great.
right, that every game's a reset. I thought it was really smart.
No, he's fantastic. Look, I don't think they erased all doubts. That's what I'll say. I expected a bounce-back game. We got a bounce-back game. And while I still think they'll win the series, they were my pick and all that, look, I don't think they broke Indiana's spirit. I think Indiana feels like, okay, we haven't even played well. And Tyrese certainly hasn't gotten going other than the big shot at the end of game 1. Pascal hasn't been great. He was good in game 1, not good in game 2. And here we are with a split stealing home court advantage from the heavily favored Thunder. What was the difference, and you had it on the graphic, was the three-point shooting for Indiana. Now, don't get me wrong. OKC had a lot to do with it. Their defense looked as tenacious as it did in game 1.
Yes.
Indiana wasn't turning it over as much, but the defense was still incredible. So that had a lot to do with the poor three-point shooting. But 45% of Indiana's threes in game 2 were open. Wide open, actually. Wide open. That's not terribly unusual in today's NBA, but still, half your threes are wide open, and they only shot, as you showed, 35%. Game 1, they shot 46%. And that's OKC's style, right? Indiana's this is a problem for them getting into the paint because they play inside out. So that's a problem for them. But conversely, you're getting a lot of open threes. And they missed them in game 2, made them in game 1. That's why they were able to come back. But like I said, I think OKC is the better team, but I don't think I'm not taking this as, they're 20 points better than Indiana, and every game now is going to be a rout, because we've said it. The most desperate team has tended to win a lot of these games in series, and that's what you saw last night.
So to me, I agree with a lot of that, Brew, except it would have been shocking if OKC didn't win last night. Like,
Absolutely.
Utterly shocking. And so just winning shouldn't be like, oh, okay, everything's back on course. It's more that there's now been 48 or 96 minutes of this series played, and I don't see one matchup Indiana has the advantage. That's the problem. There's not one guy on the Pacers that I'm like, oh, he's playing great. There's not one guy on the Thunder that I'm like, oh, they were relying on him, and he is not himself. Like, you know what I mean? Right. Totally out of it. Chet had the bad game 1, bounced back in game 2. Jalen Williams not shooting well yet this series. I think he's 11 of 33 in the series, and they're still scoring seemingly at will. Like, the Pacers are turning the ball over. You said they were better in this game at turnovers. Still turning the ball over 15, 16 times. That's not going to be sustainable. And Haliburton, who I know we're going to get to, is totally out of it. So, like, had game 1 not had, and I know we've said this now with every series the Pacers have been in, literally, because they've had one of these games every time. So it's less of an outlier than it would be for any other team in NBA history. But I think it's fair to say that if, Miles Turner's banked 3 that he wasn't trying to bank in, again, should be worth 2, sure, in game 1 doesn't go in, we're looking at this as OKC hasn't even played great except for Shea, and they're up 2-0. And so as far as any doubts that crept into my mind after game 1 of, oh, man, like, could Indiana steal this? Those have been somewhat erased, because I just don't see, Brew, when the teams are out there where if I'm Rick Carlisle, I'm like, that's what we're going to attack. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see where they have an edge. Sometimes in these other huge underdog spots, the 2018 Cavs was an obvious, what's the Cavs' path? I don't know. LeBron has to just be the best player again and again.
Usually you have a guy.
You have a guy.
A Donovan Mitchell, a LeBron, somebody where, you know what? He's just going to beat you and score.
By himself.
And part of that is OKC's great defense.
Yes.
And when they went small, which we talked about last week, I didn't like them making that adjustment before the series even started.
I thought it was so weird.
It was
totally
bizarre.
agree.
But what it does is now when you add Case and Wallace, Shea, Dort, like there's no one guy you say, okay, that's the wing league. They did, hunt Chet a little bit in game 1, had a little success, but he's 7'3". So even on jumpers, he can kind of recover, and obviously in the paint, he can maybe block your shot. So that's the benefit, and that's why Indiana doesn't have that one guy that, give it to Haliburton, give it to Siakam, and he's just going to beat you. So that's a challenge for them. But again, if I'm Indiana, I'm saying we haven't played well, and we got home court advantage.
Well, 2 things. One, I got from not playing well. This is from Tim Reynolds at Yahoo. They've led for a total of, you want to take a guess?
0.3 of a second?
No, because they led
1 minute and 54 seconds.
They led for a couple minutes at the beginning in the first quarter.
So 2% of the time. So this is from the easier said than done files, but this is how Denver won game 3 when they were 1-1 going back home. Jalen had 32, SGA had 18. Are you taking it off the board? It's like, hey, there's no kind of weak link here. Why don't we try to slow down or just sell out to stop SGA, make someone else beat us? Do you think that's an option?
Yeah, particularly with Rick Carlisle. And I know he said, look, pencil in 34 points for him before they get on the plane. But still, that's Rick Carlisle, who has had success against LeBron and others, will try to come up with something. SGA, I don't expect him to get 30-plus every game this series. He may average 30. Mm-hmm. I don't think he's going to get 30-plus every game. You do have 2 really good perimeter defenders in Nesmith and Nembhard, and maybe you pack it in and pull a trick out of their book and give up some threes. And if they're not hot, that might work for you. But look, SGA, all but one of his shots, I believe, yesterday was in the paint or mid-range. And that's one reason, not taking any of his greatness away, but that mid-range shot is what a lot of teams typically will concede if they have to give something up. He feasts on that. Maybe if you keep him out of the mid-range as best you can and force them to shoot more threes, you might have a better shot. Carlisle definitely try everything he can defensively.
It's a cousin of my guard Travis Kelce theory. Yeah, just give it a shot, man. Just give it a shot. On the Pacers side, no heroics from Haliban. 17 points in the night, 12 in the fourth, which is good, but 5 points on 7 shots through the first 3 quarters. That's not good. Here is Rick Carlisle on Haliban after the game.
People shouldn't just look at his points and assists and judge how he played, or judge how any of our guys played just on that. That's not how our team is built. I mean, we're an ecosystem that has to function together, and stats. We got to score enough points to win the game, but who gets them and how they get them, not important.
Fair, but it was sick when he had that 30-point game, though. Just for the record. Game 1, he had 14. Game 2, 17. Rebounds 10-3. He's had 6 assists in each game. He's had 8 total turnovers, and he's 6 for 13.
He's out of it, man.
It's an ecosystem.
No, but it is an eco. Like, I agree with Rick Carlisle. Yeah. His box score doesn't tell the story because his box score is better than the story.
Box score doesn't look as bad. Well, for those years from now who will look at game 2, 17,
it was okay, but no. I mean, they were down 19 going into the fourth. That game was over for all intents and purposes, and he hit some